Time now to get over to the kitchen and check in for the first time today with ABC7 Culinary Director Judi Gallagher. Hi, Judi.
Hi there, Scott. Today I thought I'd do something that's pretty healthy. I love to cook with spaghetti squash, but sometimes I get a little bored with it, just putting your standard meat sauce on top of it. But I also love sauteed zucchini noodles when you use your spiralizer. I decided to marry the two of them today. So we're going to use some grass-fed organic ground beef. You can certainly use tofu crumbles if you want to keep it meatless. I have burrata cheese that's going to go on top. I've spiralized my zucchini. I've microwaved one spaghetti squash. You can roast it. And I'm also going to add a twist with shiitake mushrooms and a flash of the grape tomatoes. Bring it some warmth and different textures in the dish. So stay with me. We are cooking up a flavorful spaghetti squash, a zucchini and shiitake mushroom.
Let's get back to the kitchen now and see how lunch is coming along with Judi Gallagher. Judi?
Oh, Scott, I've got it going on. So we have the ground beef. Remember, that's grass-fed. Really good flavor with the grass-fed. So we get that browned. I drained off the extra fat, and then you've heard me say this before. I love Michael's of Brooklyn is my favorite sauce. If I'm not making it homemade, or if it's not Scalzi's, it's going to be Michael's from Brooklyn. You can get that over at the Fresh Market, and I just buy it when it's on sale, like 6 jars at a time, and I'm golden. So we'll give it some heat here, temperature-wise, not spice-wise. We'll bring that temperature up. We're going to cook this down for about 5 minutes in the sauce, and we're going to add some chopped peppers and onions, and we're going to let this sauce go for at least a half an hour. Simple sauce. Now, my suggestion to you is make the sauce the night before and double or triple it, and then you have it in the freezer, and you can have it for so many different things, especially if you don't want to have pasta. Sometimes I'll just eat meat sauce as my meal with a salad. So when this has continued to cook, we add a little dried oregano and some fennel seed. Now, a lot of people like to use Italian sausage, and so do I, so you can certainly break down, make sure you take the sausage out of the casing and break it down. And as this cooks, and that's only a half a jar of sauce, because we want the meat to be prevalent in this. But like I said earlier, you can certainly use tofu crumbles or no meat at all and just do the vegetable root, maybe some eggplant if you wanted to keep it vegetarian. Now, I wanted to show you the spaghetti squash. What I did was I scored it, which means I just took a fork or a knife and poked holes in it. And I happen to microwave this one. This size went for about 5 to 6 minutes per side. And look how it just lifts out those seeds. So we remove the seeds, and you'll see I have some already flaked perfectly. So we're going to season that with coarse salt and black pepper. If you want, you can put a teeny bit of truffle oil in there. Not too much. We don't want it to be potent with everything else we have going on. We'll let that sit. Now, when we come back, I'm going to saute up the zucchini noodles with the shiitake mushrooms and top it off with some burrata cheese. I think you're going to really love this dish. Scott, I think it's working because John Scalzi just said to me, I'm making this for dinner. So I think it's a good recipe if Scalzi approves. So I've heated up some extra virgin olive oil. Now I'm going to add the other half of the garlic into the pan here. Here's shiitake mushrooms. I love shiitake mushrooms. They're so tender. We're going to add pepper, not salt. If we add salt with zucchini and mushrooms, it draws the water out, and they tend to get real watery, so you wait to the end to season that. So let's give this about a minute to start sauteing. Add perhaps a teeny bit more. Now, you could add some truffle salt, some truffle oil. Again, I don't want it to be too strong. Over here, our sauce, as you can see, is getting really bright and cooking up. The vegetables are getting tender, but I don't want them too soft. So we'll come back here. Now, this is the fun part. Besides the shiitake mushrooms, I'm going to add the spiralized zucchini. And if you don't have a Veggetti or a spiralizer at home, I highly recommend it. It's going to be your favorite kitchen tool. I even like mine better than the zester, which I've always talked about the zester, right? Okay, so to get ready to plate this dish, I've taken some baby spinach and organic arugula. And what you do is the easiest way is just mount it on your cutting board, drizzle a little olive oil and a little salt on there. We're going to slice the burrata. Now, burrata is extra creamy. It's a form of a mozzarella cheese, but inside it's all gooey. So we want to wait to cut that till the last minute. If I have enough time, I might stick the broiler on, especially if I'm serving my family this meal. with it being in the pan. I do a lot of straight from the oven onto the table with a side salad. So this would be one of them where I'd have this in a giant pan, and I just gently melt that burrata cheese in it. But today we're just going to top it right there. Now look at this. You can see it's just cooking along beautifully. We're going to add a little more olive oil. Again, walk away from the salt so it doesn't get too runny. When I see the mushrooms starting to get tender, and that's going to be about another, I'd say about a minute, then I'm going to make a little path right here. And I'm going to add the sliced grape tomatoes, again, nice and organic. We're keeping this really healthy and light. This is one dish that I make at home, just like this with the zucchini, and I might add Parmesan cheese and either basil or mint. So that and alone is one dish. Then we add it with the spaghetti squash, and it really becomes something that's very complex. I ate recently a few times this past week at a true food restaurant, really True Food Kitchen, fantastic. And it's based on some consulting from Andrew Weil and his cookbooks. And what they do so well there in a healthy style restaurant is they add texture and mounds of flavor, but it's healthy flavors. So I really like that. So this is basically done, just as it is. Now, how easy is this? We're gonna take our sauce. I have some that's cooked a little bit longer, just like that, over on top of the spaghetti squash, and then we're going to take some of this zucchini, look at that, and I'll get some of the tomatoes and the shiitakes, and when I come back, we'll top it with the salad, and I'll give Scalzi some lunch. What do you think?
Judi, this is just so good. I mean, it's really delicious.
I mean, I think that's the key, is especially when you're dining out, is try to go to a healthy option, get a few of those dishes, and think about how they presented it. Maybe ask them what some of the seasoning is, and then marry some recipes together. And this, you have your salad course, right? Because we have the baby arugula and spinach on top with a little olive oil, and that's where I salted it, the zucchini noodles, and the spaghetti squash. You can do all or some parts of this particular recipe.
I love the spaghetti squash. It's really great. I had forgotten, I haven't cooked spaghetti squash in a long time, and I'd forgotten just how good it is. So right on.
It is, and low carbon. You get that one to go home.
Thank you so very much. Appreciate it. Recipe on our website, mysuncoast.com. Click on the dining link page. It'll take you right there with all the video instructions from Chef Judi herself. Scott?